Things may seem a little different now, pero dito sa the SM Store, your safety remains our top priority. Ako po si Jeffrey of the SM Store, and samahan po ninyo kami as we walk you through the measures we've implemented to ensure your safety. Sa lahat ng aming branches nationwide, mandatory thermal checks will be facilitated.
Lahat rin ng aming staff ay nagsusuot ng face masks and face shields. We take precaution by implementing a no mask, no entry policy sa lahat ng aming branches.
At dahil importante sa amin ang inyong safe shopping experience, we make sure to sanitize all our shopping baskets and carts bago ninyo sila gamitin.
Lahat rin ng aming selling areas ay sinasanitize thoroughly. Para mas masigurong kayo ay ligtas, ang aming ring mga counters ay sinasanitize every after transaction.
As part of our protocols, lahat ng aming staff ay required na maghugas ng kanilang kamay regularly.
At dito sa the SM Store, we conduct regular rapid tests sa aming mga staff to ensure that you are safe when you shop with us. Now, more than ever, our customers' and employees' safety is at the heart of the SM Store. See you here at the SM Store.
Han, as SM ka na? Okay, text ko.
Hello, Han. Got it. Hello?
Can't talk to you na. I'm cooking, no? Kayang-kaya mo na yan?
Okay. Sige. I got you, my repolyo. I love you, Labanos! Saan po yung petso?
Dito po.
Ay, uy! Wow, petso! Petso, my golly, wow! Hello? Yep, Han!
Oh, Han! Asan ka na? Nakuha mo na ba lahat?
Mission accomplished!
Thank you! Ang galing mo talaga!
Nandito lahat! Okay, see you later. Bye!
I love it! Ay, ganda!
Wow! Oh, nice! Han, nasaan ka na?
I'm still here. Alam mo naman, I've got it all. Nakuha ko na lahat ng kailangan. Dito na lahat.
Han, miss na kita.
Okay ka ba, John?
Pabili ako ng toaster, bacon, rice cooker, map.
Nabili ko na lahat yan.
Okay, that's nice. See you later.
Good afternoon to everyone watching us live right now. We will begin the annual stockholders meeting with the Philippine National Anthem.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiin. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw, may dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Welcome to the 2021 Annual Stockholders Meeting of SM Investments Corporation. With us this afternoon is our Board of Directors. Our Chairman of the Board, Mr. Jose T. Sho. Our Vice Chairpersons, Ms. Teresita T. C. and Mr. Henry C. Jr. Mr. Harley T. C., Executive Director. Mr. Alfredo E. Pascual, Lead Independent Director. Ms. Tomasa H. Lapana, Independent Director. Mr. Robert G. Vergara, Independent Director. And lastly, our President, Mr. Frederick C. Dabuncio. Also with us is our Corporate Secretary, Attorney Elma B. Serrano. Our Assistant Corporate Secretary and SVP for Legal, Attorney Arthur A. C. And our SVP for Finance, Mr. Franklin C. Gomez. We would also like to acknowledge our advisors to the board, Ms. Elizabeth T. C., Mr. Hans T. C., Mr. Herbert T. C., Mr. Gregory L. Domingo, and Mr. Roberto G. Manabat. I'll now turn over the meeting to our chairman, Mr. Jose T. Sho.
Good afternoon, shareholders. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the annual stockholders meeting of SM Investment Corporation, streaming live this afternoon. To you, our stockholders, thank you for registering online, for joining us today, and for voting. I know that all of you understand that we have to comply with the government directives on social distancing for the safety of everyone. I trust that you are all well and safe. We have opened the chat box so you can raise your question or comments. In case your questions are not answered this afternoon, our investor relations team will endeavor to reach out to answer your question via emails. Ladies and gentlemen, the annual stockholders meeting of SM Investment Corporation is now called to order. Mr. Secretary, before we proceed, please certify to the posting and publication of notice and the existence of quorum.
Yes, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon to everyone tuned in. In compliance with the rules issued by the Securities and Exchange Commission, notice of this meeting, together with a definitive information statement, along with the company's guidelines for participation via remote communication and voting in absentia, were uploaded via PSE Edge on March 19, 2021, and posted on the company's website also beginning March 19, 2021. In addition, the notice of this meeting was published on April 5 and 6, 2021, both in print and online formats, in the business section of the Philippine Star and at the banking and finance section of the Business World. Mr. Chair, based on record, stockholders who have registered and participating in this meeting personally and by proxy represent 1,055,708,963 common shares, constituting 87.64% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company as of record date March 29, 2021. I therefore certify, Mr. Chairman, that we have a quorum for this meeting. We would also like to inform the stockholders that CSIP Gores Velayo and Company, or SGV, has been engaged as third-party tabulator of votes cast for today's meeting. Finally, we'd also like to inform the shareholders and other participants that this meeting will be recorded. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The next item in the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the last annual stockholder meeting. Mr. Secretary, were copies of the minutes provided to all the stockholders?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Copies of the minutes of the stockholders meeting held on June 24, 2020 were posted on the company's website soon after its adjournment last year. Copies of the minutes were also appended to the definitive information statement posted on the PSE Edge and the company's website. The minutes reflect the proceedings of the last annual meeting, including resolutions adopted and approved with corresponding tabulation of votes for each item, then for approval.
Thank you. The minutes of the last meeting are being presented for approval. Mr. Secretary, do you have the result of the voting?
Yes, Mr. Chair. For the record, unqualified votes cast for each item for approval at today's meeting shall be counted in favor of the matter under consideration. Based on the tabulation of votes, stockholders owning shares representing 87.62% voted in favor of approval of the minutes.
Thank you. The motion is carried and the minutes are approved. Mr. Secretary, please ensure that the minutes of today's meeting reflect the tabulation of votes for all the agenda items requiring stockholder approval.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
The next item in the agenda is the approval of the 2020 annual report in the audited financial statement. May I request our President, Mr. Frederick Dibuncio, to present the annual report for 2020.
Good afternoon, dear shareholders. Allow me to report on our performance for 2020 and how we navigated through the pandemic. In several ways, the pandemic has sharpened our focus on three key areas: safety, innovation, and resilience. Our top priority was the health and safety of all the stakeholders in our SM ecosystem. We made sure our employees were secure with alternative work arrangements in place. We conducted mass testing and reconfigured the workplace to align with safety and distancing protocols. We will be rolling out vaccines to our employees as we prioritize everyone's immediate protection. Recently, our malls have become venues for vaccination activities in partnership with local governments. Together with the Philippine Red Cross, saliva RT-PCR testing is made more accessible through our malls. We have also provided mattresses and other essentials to isolation wards in universities. This is in addition to this distribution of critical medical gear and equipment, building quarantine facilities, and converting the Mall of Asia Arena into a mass testing facility. Secondly, innovation is key to unlocking new possibilities to serve our stakeholders better. In fact, the pandemic fast-tracked our plans to create greater digital capabilities and widen our omni-channel presence to meet new and evolving customer expectations. We will discuss this more in the succeeding slides. Thirdly, we have assured our partners of our support, especially the thousands of SMEs in our supply chain, to help them adapt, serve, and survive. As a group, we provided about 30 billion pesos last year in the form of waivers, payments, donations, and various forms of support to employees and third parties. We also provided loan extensions and added money transfer services through our banks and group-wide donations and on-the-ground relief efforts for our host communities. Through the Kasama ng SM campaign, we encourage our customers to support local businesses. Our collective resilience is necessary to safeguard our long-term growth and to ensure we can continue to promote responsible development nationwide. We were focused on business survival and the support provided to our thousands of stakeholders. Despite the many challenges and the decline in economic activity, we were still able to report a profitable business year. Looking at our consolidated results, SM's revenues amounted to 394 billion pesos last year. This was down 21% from 502 billion pesos in 2019, largely because of the impact of the community quarantines on sales of our malls and in our non-food retail stores. This, together with prudent provisioning in our banks, meant that net income of 23 billion pesos was also lower by 48% than about 45 billion pesos earned in 2019. The banking and property businesses accounted for 55% and 33% of net income, while retail contributed 12%. Our strong balance sheet and history of prudent management enabled us to offer the support we did. Across our major businesses, we opted to use a portion of our prior year 2019 profits to ensure our and our stakeholders' financial stability, reducing our dividend payout to half of previous year's levels accordingly. This was combined with stringent cost focus during a period of low revenues under quarantine conditions. As a result, none of our businesses have had to access financial markets, and as a parent and group, we have maintained our overall balance sheet strength. Despite severe business and movement restrictions, we continue to expand where conditions allowed. This was the case for Alphamart, which added 258 mini-mart outlets, surpassing 1,000 stores. Meanwhile, our property and retail arms also opened 2 new malls and stores in Butuan and Zamboanga. In retailing, we added 287 stores in total across all our formats last year, so that by year end, our retail footprint reached over 3,000 stores nationwide. Even as we expanded, we were quickly adapting to our customers' urgently evolving needs. We developed new retail delivery channels online and by phone, supported by social media campaigns and aligned with a range of practical delivery options supported by our stores and malls. We widened our diverse range of essential and non-essential products available online through our retail e-commerce site, Shop SM, on top of the SM Store's call to deliver service. We empowered people whose jobs were affected by the pandemic to participate as delivery drivers and personal shoppers. On new e-commerce initiatives, SM Markets launched shop.smmarkets.ph to provide more convenient options for pickup or delivery for customers' essential needs. Waltermart grew its online grocery format and recently adopted the SM Store's strategy of call, text, and pickup, making its business more agile. The malls introduced its newest shopping platform, SM Malls Online, available in 3 of its biggest malls. Our 2 logistics companies in the group, To Go and Airspeed, play important roles in fulfilling the requirements of our online platforms. In the foreseeable future, in-person and in-store-based shopping experiences will still be preferred by our customers. But we continue to work hard to develop innovative online and offline delivery channels that are integrated into our businesses while enhancing customer service. In banking, we ramped up our digital banking services to ensure the safety of our people and our customers. During the pandemic, BDO immediately extended grace periods for loan payments. It introduced ATM on wheels near select Save More and SM supermarket branches to bring our services closer to where our customers are. BDO extended services to far-flung communities through the Cash Agad program, allowing cash withdrawal through the point-of-sale in terminals of our partners. Notwithstanding the challenges of the year, the bank delivered good business performance, with BDO's net interest income growing 12% to 134 billion pesos. We decided to get ahead of any potential impact of the pandemic on our clients with heavy and prudent provisioning of about 30 billion pesos. It was because of this that BDO's net income for the year was 28 billion pesos, down from 44 billion pesos in 2019, although the bank's core businesses continued to show positive growth and profitability. We also worked with our business clients to restructure loans where needed to allow them to work through these difficult times. For its part, Despite a challenging year, China Bank's performance was remarkable. Its net income grew 20% to 12 billion pesos, underpinned by the strong growth in core businesses and better investment and trading returns. As a milestone, China Bank marked its 100-year journey with the restoration of its heritage building in Binondo, Manila. It also capped the year with a landmark 11 billion pesos fixed-rate bond offer. With 2020 marked by addressing various social needs, we maintained an overall view of our long-term risk management and resiliency. Our disaster resilience framework was utilized effectively during the eruption of the Taal volcano in January, just weeks prior to the pandemic. Our response was to provide full rehabilitation of our properties and their local environments. We also faced a series of severe typhoons during the year. As a testament to our ongoing investment in disaster resiliency, one of our most impacted malls, SMCT Marikina, remained largely unaffected by Typhoon Ulysses. It was even able to support relief efforts for its local community despite severe flooding and rising water levels in the area. This pandemic has only strengthened our commitment to good corporate governance. In 2020, recognized highly by the ASEAN Corporate Governance Scorecard Initiative, and we received the Golden Arrow Awards from the Institute of Corporate Directors. We also received a citation from the Morse Group in Malaysia as one of the best community care companies in Asia. In Singapore, we were awarded for excellence in sustainability reporting by the Asset Magazine, along with our bank, BDO. SMIC was again included in the 2021 Bloomberg Gender Equality Index as we continue to uphold equal opportunities for all our people. And we were recently highlighted by Sustainalytics International Rating Agency as a global leader in our industry for our performance on sustainability. We have made a change in how we report on the group's performance this year. Instead of issuing separate annual financial and sustainability reports, we have adopted the international best practice of integrated reporting standards. In this, we hope to provide a single holistic discussion of our businesses, the value they create, how they perform, and how that value is shared among all our stakeholders. In doing all of this, we remain committed to our advocacies to advancing the principles of the UN Global Compact and to contributing material actions towards the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals. Before I wrap up, allow me to express my sincere thanks and also the thanks of the board to all our thousands of dedicated employees, many of whom have operated on the front lines in the last year. Also, to our thousands of micro and SME partners across the group who have worked with and supported us. We appreciate your dedication and partnership, and we are committed to continuing to work with and support you in turn. Your well-being is our well-being. And thank you also to all our shareholders. Thank you for your confidence and unwavering support in the last year. Moving forward, we will continue to focus on improving the lives of our millions of Filipino customers, creating growth and enabling responsible development nationwide. We are committed to environmental responsibility and have joined international efforts to tackle climate change. We are proud to have joined a business group of dedicated global sustainability champions through the 50 Sustainability and Climate Leaders campaign. SM is proud to represent the Philippines among this group of leading players championing sustainability and climate action. For our business to thrive, it's critical that we support each other in a sustainable way. In the end, it's the community and the environment that sustains our growth. Let me close by sharing with you our sustainability story.
Sustainability is very important because at the end of the day, it's the sustainability of the community that continues to provide the growth for our businesses. Sustainability is something which SM has had as a culture from the very beginning.
If we can contribute no matter how little, and if I can get everybody to be aware of it, I think we will make an impact. It's never too late.
Thank you, Mr. President. The annual report in the 2020 audited financial statement of the company are being presented for approval. Mr. Secretary, please announce the result of the voting.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Based on the tally of votes, stockholders owning shares representing 87.54% of total outstanding capital stock voted in favor of approval of the 2020 annual report and the 2020 audited financial statements.
Thank you. The 2020 annual report and the 2020 audited financial statement and therefore approved. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the board meeting earlier, and I am pleased to announce that your board has approved the declaration of cash dividends. The board approved dividends amounting to approximately 5.1 billion pesos, or the equivalent of 4 pesos and 25 cents per share, in favor of all the stockholders of record as of May 13, 2021, payable on May 27, 2021. This is equivalent to 85% of the 2020 net income of SM Investment Corporation, the parent company. The next item on the agenda is the approval and ratification of all the acts of the Board of Directors and management from June 24, 2020 to the date of this meeting. A summary of this act is found in the definitive information statement sent to all the shareholders. Mr. Secretary, please announce the voting results.
Yes, Mr. Chair. As tabulated, stockholders owning shares representing 87.54% of total outstanding capital stock voted in favor of approval of the ratification of all acts of the Board of Directors and of management from June 24, 2020 to the date of this meeting.
Thank you. The acts of the board and management are therefore ratified and approved. The next item in the agenda is the election of directors for 2021 and 2022. May you request the chairman of the Corporate Governance Committee, Mr. Alfredo E. Pascual, to please read the names of the nominees qualified to be elected to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Corporate Governance Committee has pre-qualified the following nominees for election to the board for 2021-2022. Jose T. Shaw, Teresita T. C., Henry T. C. Jr., Harley T. C., Frederick C. Dibuncio, Alfredo E. Pascual as Independent Director, Tomasa H. Lipana as Independent Director, and Robert G. Vergara as Independent Director.
Thank you, Mr. Pascual. Mr. Secretary, do you have the voting results?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Flash on the screen are the votes garnered by each of the nominees. Since there are only 8 nominees and with the votes received, all nominees have obtained sufficient votes for election.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Congratulations to the newly elected members of the Board of Directors. We now proceed to the appointment of the external auditor. The Audit Committee has pre-screened the nomination for external auditor and recommended the reappointment of SGV as the external auditor for 2021. Mr. Secretary, please announce the voting results.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Based on the tally of votes, stockholders owning shares representing 87.54% of the company's total outstanding capital stock voted in favor of SGV's appointment as external auditor.
Thank you. SGV is therefore reappointed as external auditor of the company for 2021. We now proceed with the question and answer portion of today's proceedings. All stockholders of record were allowed to submit questions via email and through the chat box of this live stream. Again, we thank our stockholders for sending their questions and comments. We will now answer those questions. Mr. Secretary, please read some of the questions received.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I will now read questions from stockholders received via email. The first question is from Mr. Roland San Diego, and it reads, what are SMIC's strategies for recovery and to sustain growth moving forward?
Thank you, Attorney Serrano, and for the shareholder for asking this question. To help with overall recovery efforts, we are rolling out vaccination to our employees within the year once supply is available. As I mentioned earlier, we will continue to offer our facilities as testing and vaccination venues. This will help to build confidence that our consumer-led economy urgently needs. We maintain cautious optimism as we navigate through many uncertainties, but where we can move with flexibility and less restrictions, we will proceed with expansions in the pipeline. The key is to continue to innovate and operate safely, which we have done and continue to do. We continue to respond and adapt to changing customer needs and touch points. We will continue to serve their needs across all our businesses and pursue innovation to serve them better.
The next question was sent by the same shareholder. Does SMIC have plans to increase its stake in any more companies after to go?
Thank you again for the question. We're always open to potential acquisitions and minority stakes that fit with our objectives. We look for leading businesses in high growth potential sectors that can benefit from being a part of our ecosystem to create long-term growth and cash flows for SM. During the current period, we continue to examine potential candidates and have a strong balance sheet available if needed. As our businesses build momentum, we also look to invest in adjacent or related sectors to our existing businesses where we understand their activities and believe they can benefit from synergies with the SM ecosystem.
Our last question is from shareholder Maribel Chua. How big is the risk from e-commerce the longer the pandemic goes on?
More people are using new channels and enjoying the convenience of online shopping. We think this will continue and be a permanent but minority part of shopping. That's why we have accelerated all our investments in this area, from telephone-based shopping, social media platforms, and campaigns to different means of delivery and pickup. We see people going back to malls and shops as these are the community centers, and that this is still where the majority of retailing will be. We are working hard to meet whatever the customers want, wherever and whenever, becoming omni-channel with the widest range of offerings and services.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Chair, that is all that we have.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, is there any other item in the agenda?
No other matters, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. There being no other matters in the agenda, we can now adjourn this meeting. We thank everyone who have joined us this afternoon. We hope that you are all in good health and are doing fine. Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day.